Alicia and Mariana for such a lovely introduction of Good Your Future. Good evening, everyone. I'm Farhana Khan, and today I'll be doing one of the most difficult and awkward things to do, talk about myself. In the spirit of not waffling and rambling for the next 15 minutes or so, I have divided my talk into six sections. Basically, I'll be answering the questions: who am I? Why tech? When and where I found Code Your Future? How I got here? And what did I learn along the way? So who am I? It's a very deep and philosophical question, but I'll try to keep it short. I'm a software engineer with 2 years of industry experience. I'm currently working at Cinch. It's been a year. It will be in 2 weeks at Cinch. I am a woman in tech advocate. I strongly believe that there should be equal opportunities in tech, and I try my best to help out, create awareness, bust myths around the tech industry, women in tech, and I just like to give back to the community. Other than that, I enjoy reading anything and everything. I love to travel. I'm a big foodie. Me and my husband, we can travel for 2 hours for a good meal, Alicia knows. And I'm also a mom to a beautiful and incredible 4-year-old autistic boy. So why tech? To answer that question, I would have to take you all to the year 2010, my first year, my freshman year, in an engineering school. That is where I was first introduced to programming. By the end of that year, I had recurring nightmares around for loops. Hint, hint, I wasn't good at coding, and we weren't best of friends when we first met each other. By the end of 3 years, I was so glad that I was done with that degree. I had brushed off my hands of anything to do with tech. I was so excited to explore the world of business, and I went on to do a postgrad in international business management. I even went on to start up a business with my mom. But in those 2 years, I very uneasily realized and acknowledged that even though I was lousy at programming did teach me how to solve a problem in a logical and systematic manner. And that was really annoying. It wasn't until I became a part of the Code Your Future community, I realized that I wasn't as bad as coding that I thought. It was the way programming was taught. It was being in a male-dominant engineering school where I had no female tech role model or mentor to guide me through, and it was the casual sexism in the classroom which made me believe that I didn't belong there, I didn't deserve to be in that industry. But more on CYF in a bit. By the time I moved here in 2018, I knew that the world was going through technological advancement, that businesses, if they wanted to thrive, let alone retain customers, would need to adopt technological solutions. And I wanted to be a part of that movement. I wanted to help businesses create innovative systems so that they were better equipped to meet the demands and needs of their customers. But I couldn't work full-time because of a number of reasons. Visa type, I couldn't work full-time at that point. I still wasn't sure about my coding skills. I didn't know how to get into tech, whether programming was something that I wanted to do. There was this whole thing about uprooting my life from one country and starting from scratch in another one without any social and emotional support. Later that year, when I could work full-time, I was going through a very tough pregnancy. So when and where CYF came into my life, I found Code Your Future, this community, at a very low point in my life, mentally. 2019 was a challenging year. Our son was too eager to meet us, so he decided to come into this world 11 weeks early, which resulted in him being in NICU, that's a neonatal intensive care unit, for about 3 months. I still have flashbacks when I see or hear those machines beeping on like TV in a show or a movie. It was a very scary and traumatic time for me. And when he did come home with us, he was on home oxygen for 18 months. New moms, especially first-timers, are very, I want to be mild here, are very overprotective. I had other words in my head, and my husband was like, no, I don't think you can say that. So, are very overprotective. But when you throw in a portable oxygen cylinder and a pair of nasal cannulas into the mix, you get a mom who's up most nights making sure that the baby is breathing fine, the nasal cannulas are where they're supposed to be, and the cylinder has enough oxygen. While going through all of that, while trying to keep a baby alive and raise on, I was feeling I wasn't doing enough. I was feeling that I wasn't being productive because I wasn't working towards my goals and my career. And I blamed South Asian culture for that. So it was November, and by that time, I had been discussing it with my husband that I want to properly learn how to code. I knew there were a lot of resources out there online, but I needed structure, I wanted discipline, I wanted a sense of accountability, a two-way communication. And during those discussions around that time, I was scrolling through my Facebook news feed when, surprise, surprise, a post, an advert sort of popped up regarding Code Your Future's full stack web development course. That's what it was called back then. And I'm sure it was a coincidence. Facebook just knew what I wanted at that point. But nonetheless, it was a happy coincidence. I took that as a sign, and without giving it a second thought, I started with the application process. Again, it was slightly different back in 2019, 2020. And I'm so happy that I did it. I didn't put that much thought into it, and it was a life-changing experience for me. So how I got here? Well, I did the full stack web development program at CYF. It was 8 months long at that time. Again, it was part-time. I didn't just improve my coding skills. It was so much more. I gained skills like time management, collaboration, agile ways of working, public speaking, presentation skills, CV writing, how to give an interview, how to negotiate for a salary. So basically, all the skills you would need to get a job and to thrive in one as well. When I was doing that course, I realized I really wasn't bad at coding because I was doing quite well. And I could understand what the volunteers, the teachers were talking about. Loops weren't scary at all. Poor things, I don't know why I was scared of them. And it was because of the brilliant mentors and the volunteers. For me, my experience, it was because of them. Their generosity with their time, their patience, their support was awe-inspiring for me, because I got through those 8 months, 9 months because of their support. And I think I'm never going to shut up about it, because I start talking about how great my experience was whenever I get a chance to do it. So really, thank you guys. So after I graduated, so after about 8-9 months, so yeah, one thing I want to mention here is that Code Your Future isn't just a boot camp, it's a community. So once you're a part of it, you're a part of it. They treat you like family. I got my first job within 3 months of graduating, and it was through a lot of support and mentoring from the volunteers and my buddies. And my first job experience was quite interesting. It was there where I met my first tech role model, female tech role model, and mentor, advocate, sponsor, and I'm so happy that I'm sharing this space with her tonight, Varuna. Towards the end of that first year, unfortunately, I found myself unexpectedly on the job market. It was terrifying, but that's how I met Josh. Josh helped me get my first role at Cinch. He was so supportive and helpful, and I'm so glad that he brought that offer to me, because last year has been an absolute dream. I've had so many learning and development opportunities, and if I start talking about the culture and practices we have at Cinch, I think we'd need another half an hour, because none of us want that, especially me. Yeah, that's another talk. So yeah, it's been a great year so far. So what did I learn along the way? Imposter syndrome. It's very real. Everybody feels like an imposter. Even the people you think have it all together and thriving and seem confident, they feel imposter syndrome as well, and it's all right. It's just that we need to understand how to deal with it. Growth mindset, another excellent concept that I've come across in the last 2-3 years, is that it's a journey. For example, if you get into tech, you get your first role as a junior software developer, whatever you're aiming for. That's not the end goal. That there are so many learning opportunities, and you pick up so much stuff along the way if you put in the hours. It's that knowing that you can improve your skills. That's the important thing. Network and connections, again, that has been so helpful along the way. I've built amazing connections through Code Your Future, through LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn especially is a brilliant platform, and everybody should use that. It's okay to not know everything, like Anna talked about, that it's all right, use Google. Nobody's going to judge you for that. Knowledge sharing, again, I find that absolutely amazing how we have different in-person and online and remote meetups where we get to talk about different topics, tech or non-tech, and then we can take it back to our organization, our teams, and just talk about different concepts and different things that are happening within tech. Know your worth, again, something that Anna talked about. You really need to know what your worth is, and not be afraid to ask for a pay raise or to negotiate for a better salary. Feedback, that's also something very important. You should ask for feedback and should be able to take that feedback on board. I've learned a lot about myself through feedback, a lot of positive stuff. So it's great that if you can get some feedback, and that helps you understand yourself in terms of like what are the areas that you can improve, and what are the things that you're doing well, which might come as a surprise. It always does to me. Help others. Yeah, it's very simple. Help others, they'll help you. Ask for help if you get stuck. We think it's scary to ask someone for help, or maybe they'll think that you're just silly or stupid, or know that they might judge you, but that's not the case. Yeah. And most importantly, be kind to others and yourself. Thank you. Any questions? Yeah, sure.
How do you feel, not or anything, how do you feel that you compare to your colleagues now?
It varies day to day. Some days I feel like I've got everything sorted, I know what I'm doing, but then you throw in a new concept, a new technology, and you're like, why am I here? What am I doing? I know nothing. So it varies. But I think over the last year especially, it's gotten better, how I think about myself compared to my colleagues. I think it's also around how my colleagues appreciate and acknowledge the work that I've been putting in. That's important to me, and that has helped.
You're comfortable?
Yes, definitely. I'm more comfortable in asking silly and stupid questions. So, thank you.